Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Beauty's Garage, and today we're gonna be working on a very special project for me that I'm super happy about. But before we start, I'd like to put a disclaimer here that this is not a how-to video, this is how I did it. So don't take this video as an instructional video, it's purely made for entertainment, and if you want to do the same job, you should follow the instructions that come with your unit. Okay, we made a big space here. There's even echo now in the garage. But there's a mess here. Don't worry, we're gonna organize it. I guess you're wondering why we're emptying such a big spot of the garage. Well, because we have a new project. And yes, it's a big project. Let me show you. No, this is not the new project. The new project is still yet to come. Yes, it is a lift. I finally broke down and I bought a lift. Why so late? Well, because I don't have height in my garage. You see, I haven't even measured it, but I think I can touch the ceiling. So that's like what? I am 5'10", I guess 8.5, 9 feet. And I thought about it so many times because I knew it was gonna be a good thing for the business, but on the other hand, when you don't have the height, what can you do? Until I saw this one. So this is MAXJAX, and it is MAXJAX 6000 something. Where is the label? Well, it has a model name. I'll put it on the screen, and it is rated for 6,000 pounds apparently. And they call it also a mini lift. It is designed specifically for not so tall shops, right? I don't know how high it can lift, but these are the locking positions here and here. So let's measure together. So a TR6, and this is a pretty tall TR6. We don't know why, but we're gonna adjust that. So a TR6 has 45 inches, let's say, from the windshield to the ceiling. So I can raise it only 45 inches, which is not great, but it's not a little. Right now I'm working on the floor. It's like, usually I raise it at 15 inches or something like that. So 45 inches is a lot. Plus, from the floor to the bottom of the car, again, this is a tall car, it's 8 inches, but this means that if we add another 45 inches to these 8, that's gonna be 53 inches to the floor of the car, no, to the wheels, to the floor of the car. So 53 inches is up to here. If the floor of the car is here, I'm more than happy. I can sit on an office chair and roll myself under the car and work while sitting. Yes, I know there are these reclining creepers. They are expensive. I looked at them already. They're like 500 bucks. I can't afford that. So office chair it is. So 45 inches from there is here. This, unfortunately though, I don't think this lift is capable of lifting 45 inches. I think this is the last locking position, which is 38. 38 plus 8. Maybe we can only put the floor at 46 inches, but still, it is much better than 15, right? And it is much easier. That's the other part. When I lift the car on 4 jack stands, it takes me like 20 minutes to put it up. This hopefully is gonna take like 3, 4, 5, I don't know. Anyway, let me show you a little bit more about it. So the good thing about it also is that it is portable. It comes with special hardware that requires at least 4.5 inches of concrete, but I measured already. I drilled a hole somewhere. So I went down to 6 and I was still drilling through concrete. So I have more than enough concrete here. So once you put the anchors in, you can bolt it and use it, but whenever you want to, you can unbolt it. And you see it is on wheels. You saw how easy it was for me to row it. So you can easily remove the arms and just row it out of the way. Here, I don't think I'm gonna need to row it out of the way because I have those posts here in the garage anyways. So that's the idea. I keep it somewhere close to this post so it doesn't create another obstacle in the middle of the garage. The hydraulic part is with quick connect, just like the airlines. Here is the pump, which pump is also on wheels, so you can move it around. But if you want, you can also hardline it. You can mount the pump on the wall and run a hard line out on top and to the other arm, which I think I'm gonna do once I'm sure that this is a good position for it. The other thing is, if you want, you can create multiple positions in the garage. You can mount it here, but if you have a different project that requires more length, for example, you can use it here, which I was thinking about that. Maybe I can put anchors here and anchors there and move it whenever I want to. But the problem is that, first of all, this part of the garage is slanted a little bit. And second, there's some cracks. And I guess these two things are related. I guess it's saddled here and the concrete cracked. So now when I'm rolling a car that way, I'm going uphill. Definitely I can feel I'm going uphill. When I spill something here, it goes this way. So it's not a great idea here. I wish I could mount it here because this is my garage door. I can just drive straight on the lift. But I have cracks here, you see, big cracks here, and a big crack right in the middle, a big crack here. So this is exactly where it was supposed to be mounted, right? I wanted to put one arm here and the other one next to the other post, but no. So anyways, the inconvenience here with this part is that I need to have this spot empty so I can drive a car in. So if sometimes I have a car that is disabled for whatever reason on jack stands, I can't drive in and out there. So it's an inconvenience, but it is what it is. For now, I'm gonna mount it there, and if I feel like doing something else, I'll do something else. But the problem is the hardware, the anchors, 10 anchors, cost $176 US, so they're not cheap. Anyways, I think I'm gonna organize a little bit the garage now because I have lots of things now to put away, and it is late. As you can see, it's dark outside, so I'm gonna go shower and go to bed. But tomorrow I'm gonna bring the instructions because there's, I believe, 30 pages of instructions of how to mount it. Well, I just got Amber Alert for tornado. My Spitfire is outside. There's a customer's car in that shed. Maybe I should bring the customer's car inside. Yes, okay, I'll see you later. Well, here it is. We brought it inside because it is... And it... Oh wow, did you see that? Looks like somebody's welding. Oh my god. Well, I hope my tents survive, and Nick's Miata and my Spitfire. My bike is in the tent, my rusted TR6 is in the tent, David TR4 is in the tent. Well, unfortunately, these are all the beauties that I can put inside. Looks like I'm gonna open a can of beer and I'm gonna stay up. Oh my god. Anyway, put this wheel back on. I had to take the wheel off and wash it because I ran through dog poop. I have to teach this dog how to pick up after himself. Well, stay tuned. I'm gonna show you more. Well, I was able to squeeze another Rusty Beauty inside. I got scared. Like, I don't want my baby to get destroyed. And it's pretty tight. But it fit. Everything fit. Look at this. There's enough room here. Oh my god. and there's enough room here. Okay, so we can make room even for one more, but well, if we squeeze these things here, we can move in one more, but I don't care about this one. The ones here don't drive. This one we're gonna need to paint soon anyways. Here we go, it's coming. Started raining. Well, that was it. A little bit of drizzle and no tornadoes to report. Alright, it's the next day and we are ready to start installing it permanently. So I'm probably gonna put a disclaimer in the beginning of the video, but I'm gonna say it here too. This is not installation instructional video. This is how I install my MAXJAX. If you want installation instructional videos, there's many of them on YouTube. My video is how I do it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is how you do it. I'm gonna follow the instructions, of course. I'm gonna try to do it properly, but I just don't wanna take the responsibility for somebody killing themselves in their own garage. So this is where we start. Of course, there's thousands of disclaimers in the beginning. I read them, honestly I did, and some of them are ridiculous, but yeah, I understand that people need to cover their butts. Anyway, next it's parts list and outline drawings and stuff like that. So we're gonna start by positioning them roughly with the car in place, and then we're gonna take the car out and we're gonna square them, make them vertical, and then we're gonna mark and drill the holes. But for now I want to do it with the car in place so I can figure out where roughly I want to have them installed. So here it says that this dimension from the outside plate to the outside plate needs to be between 105 and 135 inches. Then it gives you the requirements for the concrete, so it needs to be minimum 4¼ inches and maximum 3 degrees of slope, etc, etc. Then it tells you how to assemble it. Well, luckily mine is assembled because I got it used. It was unfortunately an estate sale that I bought lots of stuff from, including my lathe and stuff like that. So yeah, one day that's gonna happen to us, you know. So okay, for now what I care about is the dimensions, and I think this is pretty much where I want it. I have enough room in front of the car here. If I have a car on the lift, I can still work here on this table, and that's pretty good situation. I can still swing the arms underneath, even though I'm tempted to make them much narrower. They extend, of course, you can extend them a lot. So here I am on the frame, but in the front I can barely reach the frame like that. That's not great. And right now, because it's not bolted, it is supported by the arms there. Anyways, but how I have it right now, it is 126 inches from the back of this plate to the back of that plate. However, I might need to shorten it. I don't really want to, but I might need to, because this way the arms don't reach for these small cars. So question is, do I move this in or do I move this way? Let me think about it. Okay, I decided to move this one very little. I also moved the car by like, I don't know, 5 inches. Oops. And I'm gonna move this one as well. So I'm gonna have a normal path here to walk, and I can even store things here in the back, like I can put a shelf or something. I still have lots of things there that have no spots. Maybe I can even bring John's parts here, because right now they're on this table. Anyway, but this way I can swing the arm, and it is actually reaching just fine. Well, problem is, this is a pretty tall car. We are still working on solutions how to lower it, But look, the frame, I'm just on the frame right now. On cars that are a little bit lower, which lots of Triumphs are, I'm gonna have to pre-jack them, like lift the front end, swing the arm in, drop it, lift the rear end, swing the arm and drop the car. But it is what it is. Okay, so I think I'm gonna measure now the distance from the car to the post, and then I'm gonna move this post the same distance to the car, and then I'm gonna take this car out and I'm gonna bring my Spitfire so we can see how the thing is gonna work with Spitfire, because I don't wanna end up being in a position where the arms can't swing inside because the wheelbase is too short, you know what I mean? I don't know what's the difference between TR6 and Spitfire, but we're gonna double check it. Actually, I just figured out something. This post is not lowered all the way. This one is much lower right now. It's actually, I measured, it's 1.5 inches lower than this one. So that's good. This means that we can drop it more. So I guess before we disconnected the pump in that other garage, we were supposed to lower it. So I'm gonna connect it only to this post and I'm gonna lower it. Okay, now it's all the way down. Unfortunately, we leaked oil from here. I have to figure out a way how to do that without leaking oil. Anyway, let's continue with positioning the posts. Okay, so both sides are now 18.5 inches from the car to here. That gives us back to back 118.5 inches. So 18.5, 18.5, 118.5. Easy to remember. So I'm gonna drive this car out now and I'm gonna put the Spitfire in and we're gonna see how it is gonna work with that car. Okay, here is the Spitfire. I haven't even measured anything yet and I didn't center the car obviously, but I just figured out a huge problem for Spitfires and GT6. The frame is all the way in the center, you know, it looks like an X, this frame. So how do we lift a Spitfire in a GT6? Just by the floor? I don't like that. That's really bad. I never thought of that. Well, I guess that's how it's gonna be. So this way, with that arm fully extended, still can't reach the frame. Here I can reach the outrigger, which is still not a great option because some outriggers are corroded, but there I can go under this bracket. You know, there is a bracket inside on the heel of the floor where the radius arm mounts, and that is reinforced part of the body. So I guess that's where I'm gonna be putting the rear arm, and the front is gonna go on the outrigger or directly on the floor. If I have to go directly on the floor, I'm gonna have to put a piece of 2x4 or maybe 2x6 or something like that, and like a longer piece so I can spread the load evenly. So this is the maximum distance that we need to have here between the post and the car for a Spitfire. So this means we need to move this. Well, we're gonna move that one, and we're gonna center the car, but looks like I'm gonna measure now what the difference is between this side, and this difference we're gonna subtract from the total length of 118.5, and then we're gonna move this post, not this one. I don't wanna stick this one too far away from the other post, you know. I don't want to have two obstacles here. I have one already. I don't want to have two separate obstacles. Okay, we have 21.5 here, we have 16 here, so the difference is 5.5 inches. So we're gonna subtract that from 118.5, so we have 113. 113 inches needs to be the total distance. We need to move this post by 5 inches, 5.5. Wow, that's gonna be narrow, but wait a second. I'm gonna actually center the car now. I'm gonna move it by 2.5 inches in this direction, and I will see how these arms are gonna go underneath. Maybe, since we're not going all the way to the frame, doesn't need to be too much further, you know? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave it like that, because right now it is, like I said, 21 inches here, not even 18, and it still reaches the same places where we said these ones reach. So I'm gonna leave it like that. I don't want to make it too narrow, because I want to use it for bigger cars as well, and I don't want to make it too narrow. So I'm gonna move out this car now as well, and then we're gonna start squaring it. We know the dimensions, 118.5 from back to back, and then everything else needs to be squared. Okay, with the cars out, I want to make sure that they are aligned this way, you know what I mean? The same distance from that wall, let's say. Even though the garage is not square at all, but at least we can be close to square. Now, I have this laser, you see the dot down there? That's 11, 5 and 3/8. Here now, well, we're hitting the wall here, but the wall, actually, I mean the door, but the door is pretty much on the same plane as this. So that's where we measured there. And what was it? 11, 5 and 3/8. Okay, that's not really square, but we're gonna square them later. Come on. 11, 2 and 7/8. So we need to move this post in that way, but let's check with the other wall as well. So here, I don't know if we, oh, perfect. We can hit the wall all the way down there. I don't know if you see. 27, 10 and 3/16. What about here? 28 and 3/4. So exactly, same thing, 2 inches. Wow, so my two walls are actually parallel. That's surprising. So this post needs to move by 2 inches in that direction. To be easy to move it though, I'm gonna remove the arms now. We don't need them for now. And that's how easy they come out. (11, 3 and 1/8). 11, 2 and 9/16. All right, so we are within half an inch. Okay, so I'm gonna mark this position now, and then we're gonna square them, and then we're gonna make them vertical. All this. So we determined one corner for each post. This corner is the same distance to the wall as this one, and the distance between the two posts is fixed now. We measured until now from back to back, but now it's easier to measure in the middle. The distance from back to back is still 118.5. So now that we determined one corner, we have to determine the other three for each post, right? And what I did here, because I don't have a ruler long enough, I have this piece of aluminum, and I don't have a chalk line, I don't have stuff like that, so I just did this. So with this ruler, perfectly parallel with the post, I'm gonna hold it there, and then I make the two rulers match here, and then that corner is, of course, on this side, because that's our line, is right there. So it is a little bit off. I can kick this rear end a little bit out. That was probably way too much, but let's see. Put this against there. Line these up, and now we are perfect there. Wow, perfect. However, that makes sure that this line is lined up with this corner, but that doesn't mean that we're lined up with this line. So now we're gonna have to do the opposite. We're gonna have to make sure this is parallel here, like that. And let's see if this now is gonna line up. if I do this, line them up there. What's happening here? No. So this one moved actually a little bit. Okay, now we're good, but I will confirm with the other side as well, and then we're gonna start drilling the holes. We're gonna worry about the vertical position later with shims. We know our two bases are square to each other. Okay, this side is also lined up, so they are perfectly square to each other. So I also put masking tape around them in case they move, because we're gonna start drilling the holes through the base. Maybe we can move it after, but at least we need to start the holes, and while we're drilling we might move them, so that's why I put the masking tape. So I borrowed this rotary hammer from my friend Eugene. Unfortunately he didn't have the right bit, so I had to go and buy one. So now he's gonna have it. It is 7/8 of an inch, because these are our certified bolts and anchors and all that. So the required drill bit is 7/8. So this one is a tool. It's a driving tool to drive the anchors in the ground, and then yeah. So now we're gonna have two sets of bolts, but only one set of anchors. I wish I had another set of anchors and only one set of bolts, because I don't need to. Anyway, this is our drill bit. Let's put it on and start drilling. Okay, so the depth of the hole needs to be 5 inches, and I want to mark my bit, but we need to add the depth of the base plate, which is 664. So we need 5 inches and 664. Okay, so that's how deep we're going. Of course. Well, that's not a great idea. So we're gonna have to mark them and drill them. The rotary hammer became super hot, so I'm gonna give it a break, and in the meantime we're gonna put those 5 anchors in. What it says here: from the anchor bolt kit, fully thread the 5/8 by 11 by 4 setting bolt with a washer and nut into the anchor. Fully thread. Okay. Set the distance between the top of the anchor and the bottom of the washer to 5/8. Okay. Place the anchor into the hole and hammer downward on the bolt head until the nut and washer are flush with the concrete. Okay. And here is the diagram. Wow, how long is this bolt? So this is our mounting bolt. Considering that a little bit over 1/2 inch is the plate, only this much is going into the anchor. Well, I guess they know what they're doing. Okay, so here we're gonna have to put the washer on the other side. I don't know why they have it on this side. Hello. No, this is not going more than that. Okay. So now we can put the washer, fully thread the anchor onto the bolt. So where's my caliper? 5/8 is 625 thou. Okay. And moment of truth. Let's see how this is gonna work. And as expected, my nut moves, so I'm trying to keep it exactly where it was. And my bolt is turning back. Come on, baby, a little bit more. Okay. So we're fully in. Now we have to tighten the bolt. To set the anchor, hold the setting bolt head in place while applying 90 foot-pounds torque to the nut. How do I apply torque to the nut? After setting the anchor, remove the setting bolt with nut and washer. Clear the hole of debris using compressed air or a vacuum and a stiff nylon brush. 90 foot-pounds, how do we do that? I only have this torque wrench. Anyway, we can start tightening it, and that pulls the anchor up. Let me show you what happens. So this is what the anchor looks like. So this yoke here, with this shoulder, we're driving it down, and because we had 5/8 here, we drove the top of the anchor 5/8 below the surface, together with this yoke. And now when we're pulling it out, this yoke stays in place. This taper here wedges into the yoke and just opens it. And when this shoulder reaches the washer up there, this is just enough wedging between the taper and the yoke. Now I'm gonna have to use my calibrated elbow. Yeah, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tighten them as much as I can now. When all 10 are installed, I'm gonna cut the head of this bolt, and I'm gonna use a deep socket, and I'm gonna go through all of them, and I'm gonna torque them to 90 foot-pounds. Well, I actually figured out a different solution, which makes sense. So what they want you to do is to wedge the flare into the yoke with a force equivalent to the 90 pounds of torque on the threads here, right? So we're simply gonna do that when we have the plate on top, the base plate, and these bolts. The first time we put these bolts on, we're just gonna torque them to 90 pounds. That's all. Now, of course, I'm gonna torque them as much as I can, like with my hands, because with this wrench, I'm sure I can achieve maybe 80 foot-pounds, maybe not 90, but 80 foot-pounds, especially when I wedge myself into the wall. And by the way, nobody tells you, but you have to lubricate the threads here, otherwise they go bad. I mean, on the bolt and nut here, the sacrificial bolt and nut. This washer is getting worse and worse. I'm putting the bolts on so I don't fill it with debris. Imagine if I suck the anchor out with the vacuum. Okay, I think we should put this one permanently here and try to make it vertical and deal with all that, you know. So, stripping my tape. Now it's important, the instructions clearly say here, do not use impact wrenches. And it makes sense, right? We don't want to break the anchor from the concrete. Where is my one bolt? Missing one bolt. So we're gonna leave them a little bit loose, like we're gonna leave some room to add shims if we have to. So now we have one shim here and three shims and three shims here, and so in this case probably we need a shim there. Yep, not one but two. Yeah, two shims here, and I think we're good, so I'm gonna tighten them now. So this is now where we're gonna torque it to 90 foot-pounds. There we go. Woo. Well, it's all torqued, and in this direction it looks great, but in this direction it moved. So I'm gonna have to remove two of these shims. Like, it's saddled as I tightened it. The shim's saddled, I guess, and so I'm gonna remove one from each side here. There I have three, and I have two there, so maybe I'm gonna have to remove one from there as well. And yeah, so look at this though. When you look at it this way, I don't know how well you can see on camera, but it looks like it's leaning towards the wall. Well, it's not. It is perfect. But look at the wall. The wall needs to be like that. So yeah, my garage is leaning. Okay, now I think it is perfect. Maybe it's a little bit off, very little, but that's okay. Well, who do you believe? This one shows it leaning to this side, this one shows it leaning to this side. Look at that. Well, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Okay, let's use this one then. So this one shows it perfect. Okay, I'm happy with that. All right, so the other side is also drilled, and I just started the bolts, and now we're gonna have to add the shims. And look at that. So it needs to go a little bit this way, so we need shims on this side, but also it needs to go this way a lot. And I also confirmed this with the thingy, so that's to the other post over there, 8, 5 and 5/16. So, and this side, 8, 6 and 7/16. So by an inch it needs to move this way. So we're gonna put one shim here, two shims on all the rear ones. All right, so it's all mounted with shims and everything, and seems to be square and vertical. So maybe leaning a little bit backwards, like very little, but you know what, that's better, because with the car weight, I guess it's gonna lean this way better than leaning forward, but I think it's good. Okay, and here, this is perfect. Also, the distance is 8, 5 and 11/16. And here 8, 5 and 5/16. So 6/16, which is 3/8. 3/8 of a difference between top and bottom, but I think that's totally acceptable. Okay. This time it was easier. Anyway, and you know what? I'm just gonna plug it in and we'll try it. Just a little bit. I'm curious to see if it works. Wow, look at that, it goes. This side is much lower. Let's see how high it's gonna go. And there's like half an inch difference between the arms. But you know what? It is what it is. The car is just gonna be on an angle. Because if I decide to equalize them somehow with the pressure, which I don't think it's possible, but then my locking positions are not gonna match. So it is what it is. Anyway, let me measure how much from the floor to the ceiling now, from here to the ceiling. So I have 4 feet and 7/8. 4 feet is 48. You know what? Actually, that's gonna work perfect. You know what? I'm gonna read the instructions a little bit and then we're gonna put a car on. Well, if it can hold my beer, it can hold the car. Well, I guess when I figure it out, I'm gonna put some marks on the floor for TR6 or Spitfire. So they're all locked here, so they're not gonna go anywhere. They're right under the frame, and well, they move quite a lot, but anyway, well, let's see if we can lift it. Yay, she's going up. Now at this point, we're gonna do a test just to make sure it's not going anywhere. Also, it's not gonna tip forward, right? Because that's my worry, that it's gonna tip. But I don't think so. No. Okay, so let's keep going. She actually went all the way up. And there's like 6-7 inches above the windshield frame. Oh, I'm so happy about that. I can't believe so far I always thought that my garage is not tall enough for a lift. Now I'm thinking about the second one. Okay, now let's put her back down on the locks. Is it safe to go underneath? Okay, so let's go underneath and see what she looks like. Dun, dun, dun. Isn't that fun? I might fall asleep though while working. Look at that. Oh my god. That's gonna be so much fun. I just need to lower my seat a little bit. Can I lower it from here? There's a little leak from the diff, which is good, means there's oil in it. Oh. Well, all jokes aside, isn't that great? Why did I think that my garage is not high enough for a lift? There's more than enough height, so I'm joking about the office chair, but I can always use my seat like that, and look, that's actually perfect height. Wow. Look, I'm gonna put you on the stand again so you can see my position. That deserves a beer. I'm so happy. And about the pump, you see where it is right now. But what I think I'm gonna do, I might mount it here on the wall, high, and then I can run the hose up to the ceiling, across and down. Maybe that's gonna work. We will see. If not, I can always extend it with the hard line. But yeah, I don't want this on the floor. This side I don't care a lot, but that side there, I'm gonna be standing and working on that table. Unless, yeah, I might just push it all the way to the wall. I don't know. We will see. I'm super excited though.